Welcome back to the Hurry Up Offense. 5 minutes of fantasy football news and advice. I am Smokey Rameriz, your fantasy football pro. Let's go. Today's topic is assess the team along with the player. But first, let's get into the news. Justin Jackson's knee injury doesn't seem to be that significant at this time, so he may not miss much more time, if any. So those of you that were hoping for another Adam Gase player to escape and break out in Kalen Ballage, don't hold your breath on this one. It seems that Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde are going to be practicing this week, so this may be the end of DeeJay Dallas. He can go hang out with Kalen Ballage if he wants to. T.Y. Hilton is back. He is off the injury report and should be playing this week. Now, I kind of added T.Y. to the done list for me, but he could still have productive games. I just don't think he's an every week dominating starter like he used to be. But if you're in a pinch and you need wide receiver help on your team, T.Y. Hilton could be the way to go. Throw him in there, see what happens. Preston Williams hits the IR with his foot injury. So this could mean possibly big news for Devontae Parker, because as we see right now, Tua Tagovailoa is an emerging quarterback down there in Miami, and the team is doing really well. So right now we should look for hopefully Devontae Parker to work up some chemistry with Tua and make a connection there, and I'm really hoping for big things out of these two. But definitely big things for Tua either way, no matter who his top receiver is going to be. I would think everyone's heard by now since it's such big news, but Christian McCaffrey came back last week, and now he's back out again. Shoulder injury, definitely not playing this week. We'll see what happens moving forward. Hopefully you didn't drop Mike Davis. Kenyon Drake is back on the field at practice, so he may be coming back soon. And in the so-called run of Tremaine Edmonds, which was lackluster to say the least, but I think that's just a symptom of the state of this backfield there in Phoenix. They just can't seem to get it going this season. We'll see what happens from here on out. Jack Doyle is out for week 10, so which means you may see Mo Alley-Cox, but it most likely means you could be using Trey Burton, because we know Phillip Rivers loves to use the tight end, and Trey Burton has done well recently. So in a juicy matchup, Trey Burton is your man. Tight end looks bad this season. Put him in there. And last but not least for the news today, Miles Sanders is back at practice and should be back on the field this week. That's it for the news today. Let's get on to the game theory portion of the show. Today we are talking about assess the team along with the player, and there is a specific incident that I want to bring up regarding this, and that is what's going on with the Broncos right now. Drew Lock has been really helpful for your fantasy team over the past 2 weeks, but here's the thing. This is one of those situations where he is doing absolutely nothing for 3 quarters, much like we saw with Carson Wentz from week 3 through week 7. Now what happens is with teams like the Broncos and the Eagles here, the team can be an abject failure through 3 quarters of the game. But usually right around the beginning of the 4th quarter, the defense of the opponent's team is getting worn out. They're getting gassed. And that is when the offense is having luck at that point, and then they try to mount a comeback, of course with a lot of passing plays. So these quarterbacks start to put up really decent numbers all in 1 quarter. But here lies the problem, is that every now and then the teams like the Eagles or the Broncos are going to run across a team that does not fold in the 4th quarter, that does not allow you to. So being a non-consistent quarterback through the first 3 quarters ends up getting your fantasy team anywhere from 5 points to 30 points. We saw this with Tom Brady this week. Sometimes that defense is not going to fold in the fourth quarter and you do not get those points for your team. So take that gamble at your own risk. Sometimes we can't help it. Sometimes we have to play a quarterback like this. Just know the risk that you're taking when you're going into this. You could have a great fourth quarter comeback or you could have absolutely nothing. Just something to remember when you're streaming quarterbacks. Do you want the consistency or do you want to take a gamble? Hey, that's it for this week. Please subscribe to the Beyond Football channel. I am Smokey Rameriz, your fantasy football pro. I'll see you next week. Deuces.